Hello, Facebook community. Barbara Derrick here from Native Studio Art. Mind me while I move things around. Take a minute for people to log on. I don't know why I have two windows. Okay. Oh, I was in the middle of developing a website and going over some notes and thinking about lifestyle challenges. And our most favorite topic today is mindset. And of course, we all have great thoughts around mindset. Lots of people don't know what that is. So if we think about mindset, all of us can say negative thinking. And you know that we're actually primed to think negative. It's flight or fright. Yeah, it's a natural part of the human makeup. As I was collecting images and content and doing some deep reflection on leadership in the arts, I wanted to share something with you today. And just give me a second while I pull up the images for you. We had a little bit of an upgrade for the cam here, and it threw me off my groove. So I'm thinking to myself about mindset and exploring learning models and why that's so important to me. And one of the things that have prevented me from getting on Facebook Lives, is I'm not good enough. Doesn't that kind of sound familiar to you, as I think that's a mouthful and stutter almost here? And I let that percolate. I like reflecting and asking myself some questions about that particular thinking. Because then I realize, is it doing me? Is it helping me? And as I'm going through the internet and whatnot, and thinking about good enough and looking at my artistic practice, skills, and techniques that I've collected over the years, I wanted to share this image with you. Okay, this first image isn't my image. This is the image of Robert Bateman's silver Siberian lion or cougar or cat. Cougar. I have to learn to laugh at ourselves. So looking at this image, I've always been so in awe of, I'm going to push this over a bit here. Okay. Maybe I just slow like that. I have been so in awe of other artists' work, especially this one. Like, when I think about I'm not good enough, and we'll get to unbundling that and unwrapping it a little bit more, I looked at my other work which came up in my mind, and I created this in 1999. And it's called New Life. Okay, so New Life is my work, 1999. And each of these pieces, one from Robert Bateman and one from myself. Oops, that's later. Sorry, I'm new at this. Okay. Each piece speaks of its own story. I'm not good enough. And one of the things that I learned from one of my mentors is about critical thinking. And I remember being in grade 12 and looking at another artist's work and being totally just envious that he could just go to it and create such a wonderful piece of art. Comparing my skill to his without asking any questions and making an assumption. So in my vision, this is where I was going to go. And I said to myself, I'm not good enough. Whenever I went to show my work, I'm not good enough. And that I'm not good enough belonged to embarrassment. Because there wasn't any feeling for the A, B, and C. And what I mean by that, wow, thank you very much for the comment. What I mean by A, B, and C is I had A, the look, self-limiting belief about my own values. And there was no feeling to C. There was just a vision of Robert Bateman, that kind of expectation of myself, and someone else's work to mine. And I went, wow. So at that time, if I didn't know how to change my limiting self, who knew back then? Negative thinking is acceptable. Were never ever shown, or at that time in grade 12, up until then, I didn't know how to change that thinking in order to see myself or feel the visible success. And looking at, contemplating on Robert Bateman and New Life. Robert Bateman, when you look at that beautiful work, he spends hundreds of hours on there, on a painting. Did you know that he designed a specific technique of layering, so much like you see back here? Using white pigment or white paint, thin down, and he'll push the painting back one layer. He'll bring it forward, back and forth, and keep adding. So our tiger is layer upon layer. Then there's mine. 1999, 2 or 3 layers. You can see the mastery in one, and you can see the mastery in mine. No comparison. No comparison in style whatsoever. Here's the message that I learned today while I was asking myself and critiquing the I'm not good enough. How about I'm, and then there's that not. And I'm looking at, so what does not mean? What comes up for you when we say not, not, not? Not is a way to prevent exploration. Not is a way to avoid making mistakes. Not does the perfectionism. And we never know what's quite right. We just keep going. And when I was painting, it was layers and layers and then throw it in the corner. And then I had, in my life, a hard time coping. Because not belonged to it was hanging on to a lot of other things. Good. There's I'm not good. Then there's enough. And what I found myself doing and what I found myself thinking was comparing myself to others. Seeking attention for approval on the outside of myself. Looking for. And then attracting undesired comments and put downs and criticism. Now, here's the thing that I wanted to show you, because somewhere along the line, this represents I'm good. It's Musquaw. I named her Musquaw. And Musquaw is bear in the Cree language. And she's a beauty, not because of a brag, but because when I created her in very short hours, I was so immersed in the color, I didn't care how it came out. Honestly, I wanted it to appeal to me. And that's the thing, the shift. When people talk about paradigm shifts or the 360 whirlwind or whatever they're calling it, I had no clue. I was waiting for it to arrive. here's the crazy thing, is that I felt so good, so free to express myself. And the crazier thing is, I all this time didn't ask what I wanted. Because I didn't know. My learning model, and that's something I picked up when I was younger, was, and I know this is fairly deep stuff, but it's unpackaged in the art. It's unpackaged my whole life. It's unwrapped me in a way that I can express myself a little differently than I did yesterday. And that was, don't be selfish. What? Have you ever been told, don't be selfish? See, self-ish. Ish is a little bit more of self. That's what another elder told me. I sat and percolated in that a little bit, marinated, reflected a little bit more. I was so focused on the outside of myself and how I presented myself that I wasn't enjoying my time, my own creativity. So I blindly moved forward. Remember A to C? I blindly moved forward. A, Robert Bateman, forward, somewhere. I had no idea what it was supposed to, me would look like at the end of all this. And everything I tried, I would just have a vision, and that vision was so big. It's like the mountains back here. I'm just headed for the hills. Have you ever done that yourself? Just had a vision of what you wanted to do? Because I found good today about making mistakes. There's a ton I made on the video today, but I feel good inside of here. Because the one thing that I realized was I had no clue what the final outcome of anything looked like because I never asked myself. I was so busy looking at everybody else on the outside to get an idea of what that was. Of course I'm not going to know what I wanted. Oh, so then the next question was to me, Robert Bateman. Man, he's his own person. Great artist. And who am I to affirm my own Robert Bateman arrival? How about Barbara Derrick arrival? How about you? You want to give yourself a nice clap or pat on the back? The arrival, your arrival? No matter. It's big. The thing that I missed out on this whole time is all those wins. I was not taking in the wins of my life. Small, whether they be small, when I was firming down and toning, whether it was 2 pounds, that's a celebration. 2 pounds? Or if it was one art piece, or if it was a speaking presentation at Toastmasters. Yeah, you know what it's like to talk in front of a bunch of people? Yeah, good job. What I didn't know was how to think. What I said to myself held power, and that power was negative. Unfortunately, well, up until this point, the point was that this unconscious way of being impacted my life. Now the last message, as I'm starting to fold it up here. Gold mining. Have you ever gone to the creek side and panned gold with anyone? Back in my early 20s, I used to go out with someone to pan gold, and it's funny how these thoughts would come up. So we'd be sent on a hunt looking on the creek bed, and you put the dirt from the creek in, and then you wash it in front of the waters, and well, You keep doing that, and you keep doing that, and you move and you move and you move, and you move and you move in seeking that one day you'll find the big lode. You know the mother lode? The one where people talk about, oh, one guy over there upstream, he hit it big. Not only did he find chunks like this, he found a lode. Man was so rich. So we go, we do, we look, moving around. Ding, ding, ding. Sometimes getting lost, that was me one time. The vision of the lode, that was all that was going on there. Or how about the chunk? That chunk of gold. And then one day, I remember getting really quiet and just enjoying the sunlight and the birds and the swishing the pan. And lo and behold, I look at my pan and there's a small, tiny, tiny little ruby. And I thought, isn't that interesting? Because that's what happens is gold or whatever you're looking for shows up when there's a single focus. And that's my message to artists and speakers and educators and all those with the creative, that creativity, that artistic expression is showing up. So life as an artist, speaker, writer has been up until this day that way negative. It's not. We can change. I am good. And thank you for the comment, whoever put the beautiful comment up. I want to leave you with this last thought, Carl Jung. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you'll call it fate. If you look down at the bottom corner of the call here, you're going to see a link. And this is a private Facebook community. And the community, oops, that's for my Kajabi, I think. I will leave that private community link up. I'm just looking one more time. Oh, I'm just moving this comment a bit here because, well, just listening to you, you have grown into a very beautiful, artistic, indigenous woman. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm still looking for the previous, but what we'll do is this broadcast will be found in Leadership Art Mentorship by Barbara Derrick. You can Google that or you can search for it in your search engines on Facebook. Love to have you. Join us there. See you later.